Gaurav, give me a moment. We're seeing over there a very important picture of Raj and Uddhav together. They've been working in putting this whole thing together. They're on the stage at the same time, even though Raj so far wasn't wanting to come into the center stage and dominate proceedings, allowing Uddhav to control what was going on. I'm also now joined by Amit Barua, senior political journalist, who's now viewing these pictures. Amit, there hasn't been a moment like this in recent Indian history where so many people have congregated to pay their last respects to a political leader. We're witnessing possibly one of the biggest funerals India has ever seen.
Well, clearly it's a big funeral, but I want to tell you that even a different setting of a different kind. We had a funeral for Bhupen Hazarika in Ghati, and lakhs of people came out for that. Different context, different person. But clearly it is big, and it's no surprise. He's practices politics there for 40 years, and he has a huge support base of cadres and people whom he has helped over the years, and their families have grown and multiplied, and he clearly has that kind of hold over Mumbai. So no surprise there in terms of the numbers. I'm glad it's a Sunday, so that people sort of hopefully can get go about their business normally from tomorrow.
But a band has been called by the Traders Association as a mark of respect for Balasaheb Thackeray. So I'm not quite sure.
Well, clearly that's what my hope was, because this is really the issue, that how many people have downed their shutters on their own volition, and some of them have done it because of the fear factor that pervades in Mumbai.
But we're also seeing across party lines a collection of politicians, industrialists, Bollywood stars, all of whom Balasaheb Thackeray touched and reached out to in his 4 decades, and they're there not out of fear, but out of the respect that they have for Balasaheb.
No, definitely, but this is no surprise again, because these people were visiting him all the time, because they had some issues. Somebody wanted a film cleared, somebody wanted X done, somebody wanted Y done. So this was a constant thing. So whether it's Amitabh Bachchan or Shah Rukh Khan or whoever is there, these are people who have always been in touch with him. They've always met him. They've always interacted with him. So it's no real surprise here at all.
You're saying it's no surprise. These are images, live images. Sharad Pawar, in fact, helping people settle down, showing them where to sit. He thought of Balasaheb Thackeray as a great friend of his, and he's not, acting over there as somebody from the outside. He's playing a role in, set things up. Shows the sort of linkages, despite a deep divide in ideology, that Balasaheb Thackeray had with people across the political spectrum.
Totally agree with you there. But the fact of the matter is that the Shiv Sena was a party which was supported by the Congress. It had always had very good relations with the Congress. You remember that the emergency was supported by Mr. Bal Thackeray. So it's no surprise that Congress politicians of all hues are present. And the fact remains that Mr. Thackeray did have a lot of personal charisma which helped him build up these linkages. But at the same time, one can even argue that the Shiv Sena was to some extent worked in many occasions in concert with the Congress party. And given the fact that the BJP Shiv Sena combine has been just in power for one term in Maharashtra, the fact is that state power is very important to Mr. Bal Thackeray. The fact that today he's draped in a national tricolor, despite the fact that he holds no official position.
Is that allowed?
Well, that's a question which needs to be asked. He's getting a state funeral. He doesn't hold any official position.
Never has.
He never has. Never contested an election. So I think that this is a sign that how the Congress government has gone overboard to give him what they think
We're
is
seeing the Maharashtra Chief Minister, Mr. L.K. Advani, all of them. I'll call those images up full screen now, as we're seeing Mr. L.K. Advani, Nitin Gadkari, Sharad Pawar, all of them go out and pay their last respects to Balasaheb Thackeray. In some senses, it shows, Amit, that the idea of Shiv Sena is alive, it's kicking, and it's growing. A lot of the people over here, apart from the politicians and all, are very young. They're not people who worked with Balasaheb Thackeray over many years. They're young people who are obviously enamored or drawn by what Thackeray stood for.
No, definitely. I think that he had his own politics, and many believe that his politics were divisive. And he had an imagery that he used. He didn't hesitate to say what he wanted to. He never contested an election. He never held office. So you can't judge him by the normal standards of politics. And the fact remains that, just to put everything in perspective, he was disenfranchised for 6 years by the Election Commission. He has been censured by the Sri Krishna Commission. Not that these things matter in our politics. When you're a strong man, you know, you can get away with a lot.
And yet nobody took any action against him. That's the man whom he made Chief Minister, Manohar Joshi, and then controlled with the remote control and made no bones about it. Prakash Zavadekar, Ramdas Athavale, we saw Jitendra Awad of the NCP, all of them coming in one by one, trooping in to pay their last respects, and some of them have actually been there for more than an hour and a half, whether it's an Anil Ambani, it's an Amitabh Bachchan, that's one of the senior ministers in the Maharashtra government. They've all been there for a very, very long while. I want to go across to Gaurav, because while we see the VIPs, Gaurav, we must not forget that there are thousands of common folk, you know, who are not visible in the screen currently, who are also there in Shivaji Park. There you can see them now. You know, and who feel as strong a connect. They might not be privileged to get the opportunity to go up on stage, but they feel as strongly and passionately for Balasaheb Thackeray as the VIPs who are on the stage.
Oh, indeed, and these people who waited since 2 o'clock in the morning, some of them, they are over 150 to 200 meters away from the stage, but one glimpse of Balasaheb Thackeray is all they got. And then they are being shepherded out of Shivaji Park. Such are the volumes of people who are here that you cannot permit anyone to spend more than a minute getting that last darshan. Now from the distance that they are, people have got flowers, people have got you know, marigold garlands for Balasaheb Thackeray, and they're throwing that garland towards the stage, knowing it will not reach there. But there is a feeling that comes from within, where they've paid their respects, they've paid their last respects, they've braved the heat of Mumbai through the day-to-day, the heat and dust of Shivaji Park, and now they will have to travel back from wherever they've come. Some of the people have come from really far away. They're not all these 18 or 19 lakh people are not from Mumbai. Some are from Thane, some of them are from different parts of Maharashtra, and they came in after they heard yesterday afternoon around 4:30 that Balasaheb Thackeray had passed away. They left their homes immediately and they came just to pay their last respects. So while that fear factor that everyone's been talking about, that fear factor is there, in equal measure, if not more, there is also the love factor, that love for Balasaheb Thackeray, which is very apparent here at Shivaji Park.
And they're now demanding, Amit, that Shivaji Park have a memorial for Balasaheb Thackeray, because this is the venue he filled up. You know, he commanded Shivaji Park, which is massive, more than any other leader in recent political history, and Shiv Sainik's now demanding that there be a memorial for their leader there.
Well, you know, that's finally between the government and the Shiv Sena and their followers. But as I was telling you, Rahul, he's a very different kind of politician. He never contested an election. He never took office. So you cannot judge him by the normal standards that you'd apply to a politician. And that's something which we need to keep in mind, because he said what he wanted to. He did what he wanted to because he knew that the government or the police would never touch him. And this is something which we've seen over the years happen, and that's what has really built up his image as a person who stands above the law, who's a great spokesman, who speaks his mind, because he knows at the end of the day, nobody's going to touch him.
Former Petroleum Minister Mr. Ram Naik, Treasurer of the BJP Mr. Piyush Goyal, Uddhav Thackeray there in those images, all of them lining up to pay their last respects, and Uddhav and Raj standing together right next to each other. And that's very interesting because they grew up together. Balasaheb Thackeray played an important role in bringing Raj up as well. Do you see, Amit, the possibility of a rapprochement be worked out between the two warring Thackerays?
Well, I think that if the rapprochement is to be worked out, it should be done reasonably quickly, because I think that will send a signal out to their supporters. But if there is delay in this rapprochement, I think then, and a lot of people believe that they've come quite far apart, so for them to sort of, you know, get together today or in the next few days may not be as easy as it seems. So I think clearly there are going to be many issues that both the Shiv Sena and the MNS have to look into, but whether a rapprochement happens immediately or not, I'm not quite sure.
Because the Shiv Sainiks would want this more than anything else. They see in Uddhav the backroom strategist, you know, who can drive strategy, and they see in Raj, you know, the mass leader who can inspire the cadre with his speeches, and the two of them together can take the Thackeray legacy forward but divided? Do you think there is a threat that this cadre that's out there in such large numbers could be a target for poacher?
Well, definitely. I think that, this cadre is personally loyal to Bal Thackeray. Whether the cadre displays the same kind of loyalty to the new crop of leaders. We've seen many departures of big leaders from the Shiv Sena, Raj Thackeray included. So how the Shiv Sena and MNS is going to work together or not going to work together, how this flock is going to be kept together, I think that's very much an open question as we see these scenes from the funeral.
Amit Deshmukh and Ritesh Deshmukh, the children of Vilasrao Deshmukh, there on the stage, meeting with Uddhav and Raj. And what you're saying is very, very important, because that is essentially what will determine what happens to the Shiv Sena from here. And I just want to, for a moment, listen into the Marathi audio commentary coming in from Shivaji Park, so viewers can also get a sense what's really going on there.
आमदार सीतारामजी घनदाट, आमदार कपिल पाटील, आमदार आशीष शेलार, उद्योगपती श्री वेणुगोपाल जी धूत, सिने कलाकार रमेश भाटकर, मुंबई महानगरपालिकेचे आयुक्त श्री सुतारामजी कुंटे, विनयजी येडेकर, श्री प्रभु, सिने कलाकार सौ वंदना गुप्ते, एडवोकेट शिरीष गुप्ते.
Also a show of strength. The fact that this is being set up on a Sunday at Shivaji Park, the funeral taking place in an open ground as opposed to taking place at a crematorium, the Thackeray's are sending out a message. They're drawing on the sympathy which is being aroused as a consequence of Balasaheb Thackeray's death.
Well, clearly, I mean, the number of people that you're seeing, long years of association, of building up a network of patronage, all those people to whom, who owed something to Bal Thackeray and probably was owed in return. I think you're seeing, that crowd there, And for the BJP, the Shiv Sena was very critical, to come to power on the maiden occasion they did, because without the support of the Shiv Sena, it was probably impossible for the BJP to have made it.
One prominent personality who's not there at Shivaji Park at this time, even though he said he would try and make it there, is Narendra Modi. And a lot is being said and made of Narendra Modi's inspiration being drawn from Balasaheb Thackeray. And in some senses, Balasaheb Thackeray was the Hindu Hriday Samrat of yesteryears, and Modi's done that mantle now. But unlike Thackeray, Modi needs to reach out outside Gujarat as well and win over even the naysayers, people from other communities, other religions, and therefore he can probably never be as shrill as Balasaheb Thackeray, even though he sees in him at some level an ideological mentor.
Well, I think the common thing that exists between Bal Thackeray and Narendra Modi is that they picked on soft targets quite often, and they've tried to make an enemy out of X, Y, and Z, whether it's South Indians, North Indians, Muslims, whatever you call. Pick on targets which are easy, Mia Musharraf, these kinds of characters that you can pick on and use them to bash them for your own political ends. Now, whether that really pays dividends in the long run in a state like Gujarat, maybe one story, but maybe outside Gujarat is quite another story. So there are parallels, in terms of the demagoguery, but there are important departures. Mr. Modi is a democratically elected politician. He's Chief Minister of a state. He is responsible for governance there. So big departures as well. But, the style of speaking and the way you appeal to, I think in both cases, the strength of emotion of the supporters runs quite deep. And I think that's also a common point between the two.
Yeah, and this is very interesting to see Raj and Uddhav along with Aditya constantly together now, because a lot was made earlier of the fact that they weren't together, the fact that Raj wasn't holding Balasaheb Thackeray's body, but the fact that they are together now is also a message that's being sent out. Now here is Uddhav Thackeray himself paying his respects to Balasaheb Thackeray, and if this is compared, Amit, with some of the funerals of the past, whether it is that of N.T. Ramarao, Annadurai, whether it is, you know, say Mahatma Gandhi or Jawaharlal Nehru, in terms of numbers, just sheer numbers, the numbers here are higher than other instances. You could say that this is the 24/7 TV era, that this is Mumbai, it's easier to rally crowds in Mumbai, but these are very, very big numbers we've seen at Shivaji Park and all through the day today.
Yeah, I mean, in the numbers game, clearly it's large. It was no surprise. His political base was the city of Mumbai. Lots of people live there. It's quite easy for, you know, people who are living there to come out. And clearly his supporters are huge in number and they have strong feelings towards their leader. And it's but natural that you see them. But having said that, you know, the fact that the airport is closed and you can't get a taxi, and the fact that neon signs have been torn, all this is also a reality. So very difficult to judge, you know.
But we can't think of too many national leaders who would be able to command this sort of popularity in life or in death.
Rahul, I'm not quite sure whether you can call him a national leader.
No, I'm saying forget him as a regional leader. There aren't those many national leaders who would command such popularity.
You're right there. I mean, I think, but that's more commentary on national leaders than, you know, on him. Because what I'm saying is that the mass nature of politics in India is changing, you know. And I think that I think there were only a couple of instances that he's moved off to other states in the country. So to call him a national leader in that sense is perhaps, you know,
there aren't those many national leaders who draw crowds like this. I want to go across to Gaurav Sawant. He's joining us from Shivaji Park. Gaurav, give our viewers a ringside view of what you see around you.
Rahul, that ceremony where people were paying their last respects to Balasaheb Thackeray is now over. Now it's for the family to take over for the last rites. Balasaheb Thackeray's mortal remains are being moved from the stage to that special platform that has been created for the Antim Sanskar, for the last rites. For this, the Balasaheb Thackeray's mortal remains have been removed from stage. The family, the police, several friends, they were, they came together to remove the body. The body has now been... They have now... And these are the Shiv Sainiks paying their last respects to Balasaheb Thackeray. Emotional moments, Rahul. Let me see if we can speak to some of them and get a reaction from them. आप सब यहाँ
सुबह को 5 बजे आए हैं, 5 बजे से तो हम लोग को क्या पाँव को हाथ लगाना मांगते हैं हम लोग के लिए आए।
आप कहाँ से आए?
आगे जाएंगे तो हम लोग को कोई नहीं लेगा, तो हम लोग इधर रह के हम लोग को उसका दर्शन मिलेगा करके हम लोग इधर एक कर रहे हैं ना, बच्चों लोग को लेके।
ये बताइए, बालासाहेब ठाकरे का आपके जीवन में क्या महत्व था?
भगवान है,
तो क्यों आप उन्हें भगवान मानती हैं?
देश के भला करने वाले, देश के भला करने वाले।
I was trying to get you a reaction. These are the people who've been here since 5 in the morning. That lady there told me that she's here since 2 in the morning. All they wanted was one look. They just wanted once to just be able to touch Balasaheb Thackeray's feet. But that also was not to be. Now, what does Balasaheb Thackeray mean to them? Well, for them, Balasaheb Thackeray, as those ladies said, for them, he was their God. Rahul, that's the kind of emotions that we've seen, and these are cadres of the Shiv Sena who are a little upset, who are a little hurt that they were not allowed to get even one final darshan. They wanted to touch Balasaheb Thackeray's feet, but senior Shiv Sena leaders are now trying to tell them that how is it possible? There are 20 lakh of you. How is it that each one of you will be able to touch his feet? They're trying to tell them to keep moving on, but these people just refuse to move on, Rahul.
Absolutely, because all the VIPs managed to get close to Balasaheb Thackeray's body, but the common Shiv Sainik, the armed Shiv Sainik who's been standing there from really early in the morning, didn't get that opportunity. They're preparing now for the last rites of Balasaheb Thackeray. You've got the grandson Aditya, you've got Uddhav Thackeray,